I'm only around the corner, so anytime I'm a personal trainer and I teach karate. I run my own karate club if you can
I need to get lessons.
See?
Some karate lessons will help me
Give me
out.
a call, Amy Benson. We love you, William. Nice to see you.
Cars keep moving. Going down the garden. Fall off your down shoulders, you'll have it now. We've got a bit to go. I'll double check. Try to get on every hand.
Yeah, let's just push it up. You're right.
What do you make of all of this?
Charlene, I was just thinking that it was only a few years ago that the long walk there in Windsor was that crowded for Harry and Meghan's wedding in what seemed like an entirely different era, and what at the time felt like a new beginning for the royal family. So much has changed in that time, so much acrimony has happened, and we've now had the passing of one brain to another. The fact that the Prince of Wales offered to his brother, the Duke of Sussex, to join him on this walkabout on the Long Walk, a place I've just said Harry and Meghan know well because this is where they were married. I think we cannot overestimate the significance of this moment and what perhaps the passing of the Queen has done for the relations between these two brothers. I'm about to travel to Scotland, where they've just released a lot of detail about the Queen's coffin and the arrangements for her funeral, but I don't think anyone in the royal family, not anyone around the late Queen and not anyone around the new King, will mind one bit that right now this is the focus of our attention and the attention of the nation, what is happening right now on the Long Walk in Windsor.
Meghan! 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 Hey, I want you to meet my dog. Come here. Meghan, with a bit. You know the score. William!
Oh my God!
And welcome if you're just joining us. We are going to stay with these pictures on this special ITV News programme as Prince William and Kate and Prince Harry and Meghan have taken to the Long Walk in Windsor to thank and pay their respects alongside the public to the Queen.
Bye everyone, thank you so much. Thank you everyone. Bye. Thank you so much.
I've got to say, Penny, that was quite something. I mean, to see the four of them in front of that car, then all four of them get into the same car, considering what has happened over the last few years, that is quite a moment.
Absolutely. I mean, those four could not stand to be in each other's sights. It was quite obvious over the past months. This is remarkable. And it may not be that the relationship is back to square one, but this is certainly the start of something, I would guess. I would hope.
Oh, well, Penny, we all do hope for that. I mean, Chris earlier was saying that the last time we saw these crowds on the long walk, we were full of hope. That was when Prince Harry and Meghan got married. I was standing on that long walk talking to members of the public.
Yeah. I was
and
there
then to see where we have gone to and to see where we are today as a result of the death of their grandmother is truly something.
It would make her a happy...
It really
wherever
would.
she
I think
is.
it probably made not only people down there quite emotional, but I think people who have been watching quite emotional as well. When you think about the sort of headlines that we've seen regarding Meghan over the last few years, you would think that she is universally a figure of hate. She takes to the long walk in Windsor there, and you had girls in tears. There was really sweet moments where she embraced a young woman who was in so much shock when she saw her. And this is the moment when they walked out of those gates. And that's when the public realised that they were going to have their moment with Prince Harry, with Meghan, with Prince William and Kate. And I don't know, it's what we have all hoped for.
It is.
We hoped it wouldn't have taken the death of the Queen for that to happen, but it is something that so many of us have hoped for.
Well, if there's a good outcome, surely this is it.
Yeah, and you know, Meghan, people were so excited, yes, to see the four of them, but I think Meghan, because she doesn't live here, it's very rare that people get any kind of interaction with her. It was honestly fascinating to see.
I would have thought it would be quite nerve-wracking for her, actually.
Can you imagine?
I mean, she will have seen the headlines. She will have read the books that have been written about her. You know, people have they've turned against her. The majority of people in this country, I think.
Well, I think majority who shout the loudest. I think when you have a look at those who truly have love for the royal family, the way in which she was embraced amongst that crowd, the reaction that she provoked in so many people.
But as you say, when they were last on that long walk, the whole country, I would say, was in love with her. You know, they were so pleased for them on that wedding day. So I think, I mean, you know, it's been a rocky road for her. I would have thought it's taken some guts, actually, to get back here.
Yeah, and it's a rocky road for those brothers as well. I mean, yes, we see them standing side by side and talking amongst themselves, looking at those flowers on screen right now. And, you know, it's not easy considering what it is that they have been through, but they both loved their grandmother. And there is something about grief that really does unite a family, doesn't it?
It does, it does.
And it's been wonderful to see here. And you know, I know this isn't to overshadow what happened 2 days ago. That is not to overshadow the death of the Queen in any shape or form. But it's incredible to see what that has sparked and what we are going to see going forward. Seeing Prince Charles take to the path just behind us just yesterday and greeting members of the public, and then witnessing what we have seen today in Windsor. It does provoke hope, doesn't it, Penny?
Absolutely it does, and I think that's been apparent from yesterday when I keep saying Prince Charles, when am I going to stop? When the new king made his speech and was so positive, so grief-stricken, so he hit such a perfect note, and I think it was an indication of, Is he out? Is he out? Is he...
We just heard a
roar.
bit of a roar behind us, so we're just wondering what's happening behind us at the gates of Buckingham Palace.
But it is a hopeful period, out of the grief and the distress of the death of the Queen. Yeah. But she was an old lady. We knew it had to happen sooner or later. But if some good can come out of it, if there can be a smooth transition for the new king, if the family can be reunited, and clearly, you know, well, it's too much to say the nation, but certainly all the people, the crowds in Windsor and here and Balmoral, they love this family. Yeah. I think it's a real day of optimism.
Yeah, and I think seeing a united family can only ever be a good thing. Penny, thank you so much for talking to us. Actually, do you know what? I think it might get you to stay for a little bit longer, just in case Charles comes out, so please don't go anywhere just yet. So we'll take a break from those remarkable scenes at Windsor for just a moment, because other members of the royal family were also out today to view the huge numbers of flowers left for the Queen and to see the crowds who had gathered across the country. Ben Chapman has more.
At Balmoral this afternoon, the crowds who'd gathered at the place where the Queen passed away were greeted by her three youngest children. Princess Anne, Prince Andrew and Prince Edward, expressing their gratitude 2 days after losing their mother.
Where have you come from? Inverness. Thank you for coming all this way. Appreciate it.
Together with some of the Queen's grandchildren, they paused to look at the flowers and messages. The emotion obvious on the face of Prince Edward's wife, Sophie. Princess Beatrice comforted by her father, Prince Andrew, overcome at the many tributes left to her grandmother.
You feel for her family as well as you would feel for a neighbour's family, what they're going through and how they're suffering. Because it's their mum, it's their grandma, as well as being, our Queen who has served us for a very long time.
For many, the weekend presented the first opportunity to pay their respects. People queuing in nearby Ballater for buses to take them to Balmoral. Many hundreds of miles further south, thousands of well-wishers descended on another royal palace, Windsor, some travelling from across the country to be there.
I am really quite surprised how emotional I feel about it and how we suddenly last night said, should we go up to Windsor from Southampton, should we go? To be amongst it.
This affected her deeply, seeing it. So she wanted to come here and lay some flowers and show her respect and definitely just remember it. It's going to be in her memories forever.
In London, an area of Green Park close to Buckingham Palace has become a garden of remembrance as people came together to share their fondest memories of the Queen.
I got big flowers for her and I make sure it was really colourful because the Queen always wears something colourful.
And as the band played outside the palace, the mood seemed to shift here from one of shock to one of reflection.
We're sad, but we're also glad to be a part of it, I guess, to be able to pay our respects the way that we are able to.
Yeah, and really celebrating the Queen's life, really, isn't it, for, all the years that she's been on the throne.
This afternoon, the crowds cheered to welcome the newly proclaimed King home to Buckingham Palace. The affection they feel for the Queen, matched by support for those who will continue her service. Ben Chapman, ITV News.
Well, thank you for sticking with us this afternoon as we look at the life of the Queen, but also the events of a historic day. Earlier we saw Prince William and Prince Harry and Kate and also Meghan in Windsor. And just now, just behind me, King Charles III left Buckingham Palace. He left Buckingham Palace in his car, and the roar of the crowd, I don't know if you were able to hear it, but the roar of the crowd was a very early indication that King Charles was on his way out. And the reaction here was just incredible. I can't see the Queen Consort in the car with him, so it was just King Charles that was exiting Buckingham Palace. But honestly, it's something that the crowds here have been waiting for all day. Well, if you are with us, you are watching an extended version of ITV News. We will be with you until 6:15. So thank you so much for joining us. And what has been an incredible, incredible day. People across the country have continued to pay their respects to the Queen. And in the sporting and public events that did take place today, people paused to remember her, as Geraint Vincent reports.
A sporting Saturday in the shadow of the death of a Queen, where there has not been consensus on how best to proceed. Football was cancelled across the home nations, but at the Oval, after calling off play yesterday, the test match returned, and the players took to the field in total silence. And then for the first time in a lifetime at this famous old ground, those words were sung.
God save our gracious King, long live our noble King. God save the King.
In the countryside, a horse show. There were black armbands here too, and a salute.
I salute, ladies and gentlemen, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
And some of the very best of British eccentricity. From the 17th century came pageantry not quite up to the standard of St James's Palace, but there was a man dressed up as the last king who was called Charles. They were enjoying themselves here, but the show started with a solemn prayer.
Thank you, Your Majesty, for all that you've done. Gather up the reins now. It's your time to ride on.
There are some places where they have only recently learned about Elizabeth II and what she represents. These are the children of Ukrainian refugees. At the community centre, their parents sang a lament from their homeland.
My daughter ran from street and said me when she was playing with children, "Mama, Queen died." And in her eyes, I saw really very, very big sadness. And we are new here, but for us, it's big loss.
There were crowds at the Rugby League today as well, and they roared through the anthem here too. But the kingdom is different now, and its people will take some time to get used to it. Geraint Vincent, ITV News.
Leslie C. Romney Weeks has joined us here outside Buckingham Palace. Ron, what do you make of today's events?
Well, Charlene, I thought I was going to be talking to you about the proclamation ceremony, that extraordinary historical event that we saw this morning, but I think we've been rather overtaken by events, and that unexpected impromptu walkabout by the Prince and Princess of Wales, Kate and William, and also Meghan and Harry. What an important moment of reconciliation that was, and I think King Charles really paved the way for this in his first statement on the day of the death of his mother, when he spoke of his love and his hopes for both Meghan and Harry. And what a moment this is, what an important moment of reconciliation. And you've got to think how pleased the Queen would have been that the brothers have come back together.
Indeed, I'm sure she is smiling. Well, that brings our special programme to a close on another key day in the history of king and country. This morning, in a ceremony never televised before, as Ron was talking about, the Accession Council formally declared Charles III as sovereign and head of state. In a personal declaration, the new king said he would strive to follow his late mother's inspiring example. He made an oath and signed the proclamations. And whilst we've been on air, there have been some honestly, truly touching scenes at Windsor. The new Prince and Princess of Wales were joined by Duke and Duchess of Sussex, meeting and thanking crowds. The brothers were together once again, united in grief. Are we seeing a new era for the royal family? We can certainly hope so. Tom will be here with the latest with news at 10. But for me and everybody here, bye-bye.